everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a driving comparison between a 2021 Ram TRX and a 2021 Ram Power Wagon. And before we get into the video, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with this Power Wagon. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get straight into the video. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here in the 75th anniversary Power Wagon. So first off, visibility over the hood is unchanged compared to any other Power Wagon. You've got your visibility through both the mirrors, which with these trailer mirrors, it's fantastic. And then here's throughout the rest of the rear. So from a visibility standpoint, it's unchanged. And that all being said, let's set off. We are setting off here in the 75th anniversary Power Wagon. And first thing I want to mention is I love the feel of Power Wagons in general, just because obviously you've got the higher suspension compared to a regular heavy duty truck, so it just like towers over everything. And the 33-inch tires, they look so good on the truck. And the cool thing about Power Wagons is you've got so much space there in the wheel wells that you can very easily fit 35s on the truck, which is just awesome. And the Power Wagons with 35s, when people do that, it looks great. But setting off here onto the road, from a ride quality standpoint, it rides very similar to other heavy duties, but different at the same time. So it's still just as smooth as a regular 2500, but you do get a little bit more motion in the suspension, so you get kind of like a little bit more up and down movement. It's not rough, you just have more movement is the best way to put it. I love the torque of this 6.4 Hemi. It's such a good engine. And I know that some people have been asking for a long time for Ram to put a diesel in the Power Wagon. The thing I'd have to say is, first off, the 6.4 Hemi has more than enough torque, especially for the off-road perspective. And the Cummins is very heavy. And the fact that this truck has the 6.4 Hemi actually makes the front end lighter, so the turn-in's better. And so it actually just handles better. So you can imagine on the off-road, it's going to handle better, versus if you have the Cummins, you've got a much heavier front end, and so then the handling and the turn-in's not as good, which that's important for the Power Wagon being an off-road truck. And yeah, it's easy to maneuver. It doesn't feel massive. I don't feel any difference with these new wheels. I just know that I look a lot cooler with them on. Like, I feel like the wheels were made for this truck. I know that they were technically made for the TRX, but they look so much better on the Power Wagon, if you ask me. And this is coming from someone that has those wheels on their TRX. Like, I love them, but I will admit these look better on the Power Wagon than they do on the TRX. And we will be getting our acceleration here in just a second with this Power Wagon and see how she moves. Yeah, still great. The biggest change here with the heavy duties in the 6.4 Hemi has been adding that 8-speed automatic transmission. Since they've added the 8-speed, it's just completely changed the truck. The gear shifts are extremely smooth. It feels quicker because of the 8-speed. Everything is just better with this 8-speed automatic. The 68 RFE was okay with the heavy duties, but it kind of searched for gears sometimes and it just wasn't the best, whereas this 8-speed just knows where to put it all the time, and it just makes this truck so much better. And with that being said, let's sum things up with this 75th anniversary. And if you guys are wondering why I didn't drive it that much, it's because this is a low production truck, and I know whoever buys this is buying it because they know what this truck is all about. So I don't want to put a ton of miles on it. It's only got 16 miles on the odometer, and let's keep it that way. So what do I think of the 75th anniversary? And let's kind of compare this a little bit to the Rebel and to the TRX. I'm hoping that this truck will still be here when my TRX is done, so then I can get a comparison between the two trucks. And with all that being said, I think this is such a good value. I know $70,000 is a lot of money. However, you get, again, a limited production truck with a limited interior. Like, you can't get this interior in a Power Wagon normally. This is the only way you can get this interior, to my knowledge. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. But I think that you can get the same interior that you have in the Laramie in the Power Wagon, but this limited interior is just for this 75th package. And so you get the nicest interior, you get all the nice stuff. You get the Harman Kardon sound system, the 360 camera system, all of the really nice premium features in the truck. And at $70,000, like, this is the same price pretty much as a normal fully loaded Power Wagon, but it's a special edition and it has a nicer interior. So if you're in the market for a Power Wagon, and if you can find a 75th anniversary like what Sandy has here, I would get one over a regular Power Wagon. I think it's totally worth it. I think it looks so much better with the wheels, with that unique front grille, and this paint color, Anvil, it's a beautiful color. So yeah, that's my take on the 75th. And then compared to the TRX and the Rebel, obviously this is like the big brother to the Rebel with having a little bit more off-road capability because of the sway bar disconnect and the lockers and all that. On-road, the Rebel's a better truck, but off-road, this truck is going to perform better. And then with the TRX, I've had a bunch of people ask me this truck, specifically the 75th compared to the TRX. It really just depends on what you're looking for. If you're gonna do a little bit more with crawling and all that, then this would make more sense. But if you want to do more with high-speed desert runs and all that, then the TRX is going to make sense. It just really depends on your driving style and what you're planning on actually doing on the off-road. But obviously, this is extremely capable, and it's fully loaded at 70 grand, whereas a TRX fully loaded is 95 grand. So, I mean, just, again, depends on what you're looking for. Well, let's talk about visibility here in the TRX before we set off. So first off, visibility over the hood. It's pretty similar as the Power Wagon. The middle part does raise up a little bit, so it does get in the way just a tiny bit, but it's not too bad. And then notice the heads-up display. Visibility through both the mirrors isn't as good because they're not as big, but they look cooler. Anyways, there's a visibility through left to rear. The tire carrier in the rack, none of that really gets in the way from a visibility perspective. And that all being said, let's set off. So we are setting off here in the TRX, and I'm gonna do the same driving route as the Power Wagon so you guys can see them in the same location, same conditions, all that kind of fun stuff. But initially setting off in the TRX, obviously I own this truck, so I've driven it quite a bit. I've got over 3,000 miles on the truck, so I'm very familiar with it. The key differences I noticed between the two trucks from a driving perspective is, first off, the TRX does feel a little bit smoother on road compared to the Power Wagon, but compared to a regular 1500, you do feel a little bit more with the TRX. It's kind of a give and take. So on just regular roads, the TRX definitely, you feel a little bit more through, especially the front end of the truck. But when you go over a bump in a regular 1500, the truck gets more upset than the TRX. The TRX doesn't get upset whatsoever because of those active shocks. So again, it's kind of like a give and take with the truck. And then in terms of the turn and everything, this truck just feels tighter than the Power Wagon. The Power Wagon kind of has that loose, heavy duty feel, and it, again, with the suspension on that truck and how it's lifted compared to regular heavy duty, it makes sense that it feels that way. And then this one with the active shocks, it makes sense why it feels this way. This kind of, a good comparison is the Power Wagon kind of feels like a sports sedan in a way, whereas this feels more like a sports car. It just feels tighter, and the turn-in feels better. Everything feels better. Tons of torque, definitely feels quicker from that perspective. I mean, it's crazy. This partial throttle feels so much crazier than that when you're, not crazier when you're full throttle. That definitely feels faster full throttle. And this full throttle, I mean, it's just stupid with the acceleration, as you guys will see. It's crazy. Like the rate of acceleration in the TRX is insane, and it's a lot faster than the Power Wagon. But again, the fuel economy is going to be worse than the Power Wagon. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below if you have a 5th gen Power Wagon, what you're getting fuel economy wise. I'm guessing, again, it's going to be somewhere in the low teens, depending on the driving condition and all that. But let's sum things up here at the TRX. So on road, again, this drives more like a sports vehicle, whereas the Power Wagon drives more like a truck. So it depends on what driving experience you're looking for. And I guess the one thing I did forget to mention, this truck's very wide. You definitely do feel the width, but the Power Wagon still feels bigger somehow. This feels like more planted and substantial, but the Power Wagon still feels bigger in a way. And it makes sense, it is a longer truck. So there is that. But from a driving perspective, I would get the Power Wagon if you want the feeling of like a big, heavy truck and you like that driving style. But if you want something that feels sportier, turn-ins better, faster acceleration, that's where the TRX is going to win. And then on the off-road, again, it depends on your off-road style. If you want to do rock crawling, all that, Power Wagon. If you want to do high-speed desert runs, jumping and all that kind of stuff, and a little bit of crawling, but not as much, TRX. So it just really depends on your driving style and what you're looking for. Now let's actually talk about the key differences with the driving with both of the trucks. So first off, starting over here with the Power Wagon, yes, it drives a little bit rougher than the TRX, but you definitely do get that cool like king of the road feel in the truck. The TRX still gives you a similar feel, but there's something about the Power Wagon that it really feels like just muscular and like masculine is the best way for me to put it. Definitely cool driving experience. But yeah, on road, the Power Wagon doesn't drive nearly as good as the TRX. The acceleration isn't as quick, it's not as smooth, all that kind of stuff. But from an off-road perspective, you do gain a lot with the Power Wagon from a driving perspective, because again, you've got the sway bar disconnect, you've got the front and rear lockers, so it's going to be a little bit more capable from a crawling perspective, and you have a winch from the factory where the TRX, you can't get a winch from the factory, so that's another nice little thing with the Power Wagon. But yeah, it's just two completely different trucks. You've got like the crazy rock crawler, and then you have the high-speed desert runner truck that you can jump and all that kind of stuff. So again, just two completely different trucks, and that's why they drive differently. And so it really just depends, again, on what you're looking for. Do you want crazy performance, crazy fast truck that's smooth and nice and luxurious on road? Or do you want something that's a little bit more off-roady feel on the road, crazy road presence, all that kind of stuff, and then crazy driving on the off-road? So yeah, again, it just depends on what you want, folks. Now that's going to sum things up for a driving comparison between this 2021 Ram TRX and this 2021 Ram Power Wagon 75th Anniversary Edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Schmiller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with the Power Wagon. Check out the inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.